think we're live. I think we're live. Everything stopped whirling. The children have been given strict instructions to stay off Wi-Fi today. I know some of you yesterday on the live video had some interruptions and things like that. So on the replay, it's absolutely fine. Nothing is, hi Joe, everything sounded and worked according to plan. But on the live there was a few little interruptions, so the children have had very clear instructions to come off the Wi-Fi for as long as I'm doing this video. And anyone with teenagers know that that's quite quite a hard thing to be able to ask the children without causing any stroppy, moody teenagers. But you know, we'll get through it. It's an hour a day. Hi Mandy, hi Deb, Bore da Deb. For those of you who don't know, I'm Welsh, so there's a few on here that's speaking a little bit of Cymraeg to me. Diolch yn fawr, everyone. I think should we get going? Let's see who's on. Yeah, we'll get going, and people can just join in as they join in. Okay. Before we talk about today's topic, which is self-care, I thought I would just touch on yesterday. I had lots of feedback and comments around the subject of food yesterday, which is lovely. It was really, really nice. There was a little bit of interaction as well from people. Hi Wendy, which was really nice. All helping and supporting each other. So there's quite a lot of you said that you drank a lot more water yesterday. So did I. I drink quite a lot of water anyway, but I think I motivated myself to drink more. And yesterday was quite warm and muggy, and today's going to be the same. So I would encourage everyone to drink more water today. And there was a few people who said that they've thought about eating their dinner and their lunch a little bit slower as well, which is amazing. It's fantastic. But with these small little changes, I can't state this enough. When you're making small changes to your daily habits, what's important to be able to make them continue day after day so that they do become a habit that lasts is that you become aware of them and you become aware of how they make you feel. So for instance, if you drank more water than normal yesterday, how did that make you feel? Did you feel a bit cleansed? Did you feel a bit lighter? Did you feel like you were running back to the loo every few minutes? That will calm down, by the way, once your body gets used to it. What positive things did you notice? When you ate slower, did you feel fuller, quicker, so you didn't have to overeat everything on your plate? Did that feeling last for longer, so you didn't have the urge to snack? Did you taste the food more? Did you enjoy tasting the food more? Those tiny little things, those tiny little positive wins, you need to go, oh yeah, oh god, that piece of chicken, that tasted lovely, that tasted really nice. And the more that you build in that positive feeling, that that little win, the more likely you are to repeat it the next day. And then notice those little wins again the next day. And then you're more likely to repeat it the next day. And the more you repeat it, the more it becomes an automated habit. And then it becomes a behavior that lasts. When you change a habit, you change your life. Does that make sense? Okay, so it's sort of irrelevant really if it's about what it is that you're doing. It's more about noticing how it makes you feel and the little tiny wins along the way. Okay, there was other comments that I had which were a little bit more personal, around maybe digestive issues or what particular foods that they should eat and things like that, which is absolutely fine, and I relish those comments as well. The only problem is I can't answer them or engage as much as I really want to. So I want you to hold fire. On Friday, there's a free gift that I'm going to offer everyone that's in this group that would help solve that problem. But for now, keep them coming. I want to know all your comments, and yeah, hold fire for that free gift on Friday. Okay. Self-care. Yeah, drink of water. Warm with a slice of lemon. Absolutely gorgeous. Great way to start the day. Detoxifies the system, gets you up and running. Who needs caffeine? I still like my coffee. Right, okay, self-care. Before I start talking about the actual topic, I want to state that I am acutely aware that life has changed so much for so many people in such a short space of time, and it looks like it's going to change again quite quickly. So I'm acutely aware that a lot of people are struggling for lots and lots of different reasons in lots and lots of different ways. So we've got new mums, I know at least 2 people in this group that are single mums with 3 children under the age of 6 or 7. You know, how do you, who are trying to homeschool, how do you do that when you're isolated and got no support of family or friends? You know, you deserve a medal. We've got parents working from home and homeschooling. You know, again, oh, hats off to you. We've got key workers going out to work, maybe a bit anxious about, you know, if they get the virus and bring it home to their family. We've got job and money anxieties. I know a few people now who are facing the risk of redundancy. You know, these are real anxieties that are people living through every day. We had people anxious when the shutdown happened because it was like life was this and then it was this overnight. Maybe we've sort of adapted to that now, but now we've got the opposite, where we've sort of, for those of us in furlough that have had this opportunity to slow down a little bit, we're now facing the anxiety of speeding up again and everything that brings. So I'm acutely aware that life isn't as we know it for any of us, okay, which is in one way is a really good thing because we're all in it together. Normally when life slaps us across the face with something, we're doing it on our own, and it's just affecting you or your family, and you're coping with it on your own. But in this situation, we're all in it together, so I suppose that's one good thing. So I just want to acknowledge to everybody that we're all in survival mode, okay? We're all just coping as best we can every day, and that's it. That's absolutely fine. It's great. If you're putting food on the table for your children, if you're getting up in the morning and just getting up and breathing and loving your children and your family as best you can, and then going to bed at night and repeat, then you're doing a brilliant job. Yeah, we're all right. We're coping. So all this is just, well, actually, I would argue that talking about self-care is even more important now, okay? Because when we introduce a self-care habit into our daily lives, it helps us cope with life's ups and downs and bumps along the way a little bit better. So I would argue this topic is probably more important, but I am acutely aware about what people are going through. So maybe just listen, and that's fine, because we're all coping and we're all surviving and we're all doing the best we can. Okay, yeah, that's it really. Just, it's a simple conversation. And so what I've done, I've made the tips that I'm going to share with you super, super easy, with the thought of what we're all going through. So they are something that maybe you could think about introducing into your day-to-day life at the moment. But if not, that's absolutely fine. Just maybe put it to your back of your mind and think about it another time. But be aware, what I'm going to talk about, I would argue, is vitally important to our well-being, our overall well-being, and how we can cope with life. Okay? Right, self-care. Start off by saying I don't like the word. Again, don't like the word diet. Actually, I hate the word diet. I just don't think the word self-care is a particularly inspiring word. But I can't think of anything better. So here's a little task for you all in the comments. Anyone who comes up with a better word to describe self-care, send it in. Yeah. And then maybe I'll give you some royalties when I make my millions from the new phrase. Okay, so let's explain what self-care is, and then, well, I'll talk about what it isn't to begin with, and then what I think it is. Because it's quite a subjective term, really. It means one thing to one person and something else to somebody else, which is fine. But I'll tell you what it isn't. It isn't a weekend away with the girlfriends in a spa. It is that, but that's a once a year thing, a once every couple of years thing. Self-care is something that we do every day. Okay? So it's not a weekend in a spa. It's not selfish. Okay? I think a lot of people, when they hear that word, and they just, there's a little touch of like anger or frustration or anxiety that fires up inside their brain that just goes, where do you think I'm going to find the time for that when I'm looking after this and that and the other? I'm telling you now, and I'll explain it in a little bit more in a bit, self-care is not selfish. It is vital. Okay? And it's not something to add to your to-do list. Okay? So I just want those people that have had those little fires inside their brain just go, just want you to just, okay? Just relax. Just go along. Just go along with the process for now. Okay. I'll tell you what it is, what I think it is. It's bumping yourself up the priority list. Okay? So if you're right at the bottom pile with a ton of clothes and a ton of stuff and a ton of people and a ton of work and a ton of everything else, and you're at the bottom there, it's about bumping you up a little bit. Okay? So I've got two analogies for you. There's a reason why air stewardesses tell you on a flight to put the oxygen mask on yourself first before you put it on anyone else. I'm assuming your children. There's a reason, there's a real reason why they tell you to do that. Okay? And the reason is, well, I'm going to be quite blunt here. The reason is you're no good to anyone else and the people that rely on you if you're dead. Yeah, okay? So if you put the oxygen mask on yourself first, then you can look after everyone else. So that's what self-care is. Not nowhere near as dramatic as that, but the same principles apply. Okay? If you're looking after yourself first, then you're in a much better position to look after everyone else that needs you. Okay? And I like the second one. The second analogy I prefer a lot better because it's fun. And this has come from my air stewardess friend who spends a lot of time in Vegas. Is she on today? Let's have a look if she's on today. It's frozen. Let's not try that. But anyway, it comes from my friend who's an air stewardess. And if you think of champagne, so those old champagne flutes that go like that, yeah, those old ones that in James Bond and things like that. So you've got champagne flute at the top, and they're all piled on top of each other in like a pyramid shape, and you've got one at the very top. So imagine you're that person at the very top, and champagne is poured into you, and it keeps pouring, it keeps pouring, it keeps pouring, and then when it's full, it overflows, and it flows down to all the other champagne flutes and all the other champagne flutes. So I imagine the champagne, you might want to imagine it as champagne, but I imagine it as gold dust and energy, and it's all this sparkly energy just spilling down into all the other champagne flutes that are there. And you're that person at the top, and if your champagne flute doesn't get full, it can't spill out into everybody else. Does that make sense? And what happens is, if your champagne flute doesn't get full, or your oxygen mask doesn't get put on first, everyone around you, everyone who relies on you, your children, your partner, your colleagues, your team, your parents, your family, your friends, everybody gets a half version of you. And who wants that? Who wants that? Who deserves that? They want to see you, they want to see the best of you. They don't want to see an exhausted, depleted, frustrated, moody version of you. They want to see you shine. And when you shine, that energy exudes onto other people, and then they shine, and that exudes onto other people. Yeah. And so, and then the world's a lovely bright place. That's not how, well, that's how we all want it to work. But the reality is, if we are in a good place, we're in a much stronger and have much more ability to be able to help other people to the best of our ability. Okay? Can you see why it's important that you bump yourself up the priority list? Now, I'm not saying it's, well, I am saying it's easy. I am saying it's easy. It doesn't have to be added to your to-do list. It doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be hard. And I do recognize that I'm feeling a lot of and I get it, because I've been there, and I recognize my children are slightly older, and even though teenagers come with their own problems and pressures and strains and things like that, that physically they don't need me as much as when they're smaller. But I would argue that that's when self-care is even more important, because the children want to see a happy mummy. Yeah. Okay, let's have a look. And there's a lot of things that has come up from this recent event. And I think today's quite a good time to talk about recent events, because we can all relate to it. It's taught us, well, it's taught some of us who are in a privileged position that have been able to slow down during this time. Okay, and I put myself in that category as well. We've been able to slow down and maybe prioritize our lives a little bit more, want to know where we want to prioritize our energy a little bit more. It's also shown some people, I think there's a lot of people out there that are on the go, constantly on the go, work, home, school, judo, swimming, this, that, tea, husband, date night, on the go, constantly on this treadmill, all the time. And then you've been told to lock yourself in the house and slow down, and they've just gone, what? And I think that's why in the early days there was a lot of anxiety, because that makes people feel a little bit unsafe because they don't know how to slow down. And that would say to me, it's even more important, it's vitally important that you introduce self-care, because at some point your body or your health or something will not send you whispers anymore, will slap you in the face with something that will force you to slow down. So let's find some way. And we can't stop this treadmill. This treadmill's, you know, we're not going to, we still have to go to work, we still have to feed our family, we still have to take the children to school, they still want extracurricular activities. This life still continues. So how do we cope and manage that life in a slightly different way so that we don't end up falling off a cliff at some point? Okay. So like I said, it's not about the grand gestures, it's not about the weekend in spa with your girlfriends, which is great, and that's a luxury, and that's something that we look forward to, and it's brilliant, but that's not self-care on its own. We can't look after ourselves once every 6 months. We just can't. That's not how it works. Have to do something small every day. Yeah, is there a sort of a pattern emerging from these videos now around habits? We have to do something small every day. Okay, and I think now is, while we're in this limbo land, is probably quite a good time to think about introducing something that bumps you up the priority list. Okay, so here, but like I say, the 4 examples I've got are, well, 3 of them I would say something that you can do. The examples I've got are things that you're going to be doing anyway. So it's about how to do them in a slightly different way. So the first one, we touched a little bit on this yesterday, and that's eating slower. So you're going to eat anyway. We all eat every day anyway. So let's try to eat a little bit slower. So for the ones of you who maybe ate their lunch or their dinner a little bit slower yesterday, maybe put in the comments how that made you feel. Okay, did it make you, did it just make you go, oh. There's a reason why the French society have a 2-hour lunchtime, and it's a time to slow down, to digest that food, to take the foot off the pedal before you start again. Because in France it's a long day in France. You think that they've got this easygoing lifestyle. They haven't. They work really, really hard from early in the morning to lunchtime till 12 o'clock. Then they have this long period of lunch, and then they carry on, till 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night. So it's not that they've got this perfect lifestyle. They just allow themselves this period in the day to just go, We don't have that lifestyle. We don't have that lifestyle in the UK or America or countries like that. So I would say that you deserve to give yourself that time in the day, either for breakfast, lunch or dinner. Just do it for one meal and eat a little bit slower. And like I said, you will intake more oxygen. And I will talk today's subject is sort of leading into tomorrow's subject around stress. So eating slower will take in more oxygen and will just relax you. Just for that, well, preferably 20 minutes, but even if it's just for that 5 or 10 minutes, yeah, it will just slow you down enough to take stock, to breathe that little bit more. Okay, and that is self-care. You're gonna eat anyway. Enjoy that and savor that meal. Enjoy it. Enjoy the taste of it. Enjoy having a conversation with your family around the table. Or enjoy that peace and quiet of having breakfast on your own. Savor it. Enjoy it. Chew a little bit more. Put your knife and fork down between mouthfuls to force you to chew a little bit more. Okay? That's self-care. You're caring for yourself. You're caring about the food that you put into your body, which is the food that we put in our body is the single most I'm going to forget how to say it, but it's the only external thing that we are able to put into our internal system. Does that make sense? So make it about self-care, make it about you. It also helps you when you take your time with your food. It also helps you feel, acknowledge that you feel fuller quicker. So instead of eating this massive pile of food, you might only want to eat 2/3 of it, because you're giving time for your stomach to tell your brain that it's full, and then your brain to tell you, oh, don't eat anymore, I'm full. Whereas if you wolf it down, there's not enough time, and that's how you get that bloated feeling. Okay? You deserve that time, even if it's just once a day. Okay, second one, moving more. Now notice I didn't say exercise more. I said moving more. So it's not about going to the gym 3 times a week. It's not about doing yoga every morning, even though I would recommend a little bit of yoga. It's about moving more. So when that tune comes on the radio that you like, just dance like a lunatic around the kitchen. I mean, I know I'm talking to a lot of mums on here, so I'm going to say Pottermore. You know, what mum actually sits down until 8, 9 o'clock at night? You know, I get that. But if you're sitting at a desk, get up every 20 minutes, half an hour, and just walk around the room. Sit back down. Move more. When you realise how much you actually, we've all got sedentary lives now, and was it yesterday when I said, I don't know if I've actually said it, but when life was normal, most of us would get out of bed, walk to a car, drive to work, get out of the car and sit at a desk, spend 8 hours at a desk, get from the desk into the car, drive home, get home, sit at a chair to eat dinner, get off the chair, sit at the settee and plonk ourselves down all night before we go to bed again. That's most of our lives. Our lives are quite sedentary. So if you start noticing how much you sit down and give yourself permission to stand up and jig around a little bit, you know, go and play outside, go do hide and seek with the children, do bounce on the trampoline, tell a lady, you know, go for a walk. You know, at the moment we can walk, we can go and exercise, so make the most of it. Just start moving more. Have fun with it. Have fun with it. You know, what did you used to enjoy doing when you were a child? Do that. Just enjoy moving for the sake of moving. Climb that tree. Why not? You know, instead of getting a lift, climb the stairs. Go out for an evening stroll. Walk the dog. Dance around the room. Just play fight with the children. Play fight with your husband. You know, whatever. Just move more. Notice how little or often you move, and try and introduce a little bit more movement. One thing that my husband, I forgot to bring the book. I will show you the book. My husband has never liked exercise. It's never been part of his life. He's done a few bits here and there, but nothing's ever stuck. And so this is exercise that I want to talk about, but he doesn't move much. You know, it's a frustration on my part, but you know, that's just the way he is. But during this lockdown, he's introduced 5 minutes of moving 5 minutes of exercise every day. And he does it every morning when has got up, and he does it while he likes fresh coffee. So while his fresh coffee is brewing, he does it then. So that's called habit stacking. So you're introducing a new habit to an existing habit. So you're already on autopilot in the morning when you go and put the kettle on, or make your breakfast, or make your brew, or whatever. So introduce a new habit onto that existing habit, and then you're more likely to do it. So he's doing it then, and he's doing 5 minutes of exercise. It's out of Dr. Chatterjee's book, my hero. I can't remember the name of it, but he's introduced all these habits that are no longer than 5 minutes. So Tony does a minute of running on the spot, a minute of star jumps, a minute of press ups, a minute of squats, and a minute of mountain climbers, I think. And he does it in the kitchen, and then his coffee's done, and then he goes and sits down and enjoys his coffee. And that's it. That's all he's done. And he is much happier. He is much more pleasant to be around, and he loves it. He loves it. So fingers crossed it will continue after, when he goes back to work. But that's something. That's it. 5 minutes. It could be 5 minutes of stretching if you're not into exercise, but just start noticing how often you move, and see if you can introduce a little bit more. Okay. And third one, fresh air. Okay. Nobody can argue that while we're in lockdown that the air out there is not fresh. Pollution has gone meow. The air out there is fresh, and nobody can argue that the weather hasn't been nice. We have had the most gorgeous weather during lockdown. So just get out there and enjoy it. Breathe in that oxygen. The more oxygen that you breathe into your body, the more revived and refreshed you will feel. The more vitamin D you're taking in. I'm going to talk a little bit more about this in a second, but the more vitamin D that you take in, the more oxygen that you take in, the more that your body will go, yay! Your little minions and your will be jumping around a little bit more. That is self-care. Okay? If you do nothing else, fresh air. Move more outside. There you go. Move more outside. 2 in 1. These are all self-care that we just don't acknowledge them as self-care because we don't acknowledge how it makes us feel. Okay? So when I walk the dog, walking the dog is a task to me. I don't particularly enjoy it. Sometimes I do, but most of the time I don't. But with the lockdown, I've been enjoying it a lot more because I'm not in a rush. I'm not having to get home for a specific task. And I've been enjoying the countryside and the flowers and everything else like that. So that's nice. And even if it's not long term, it's been nice for the interim. Okay, so maybe it's just something like that. Enjoy that moment when you're out strolling a little bit more. Breathe in. Breathe it in. Breathe that oxygen in. Okay. Now I'm going to talk about the fourth one, which is sleep. So most things I've talked about, food, oxygen, water, and sleep, they're all things that we need as humans. I'm not introducing anything new. These are things that we need, and things that we, without breathing, we're dead. Without food, we're dead. We need them. And sleep, we need sleep. Now, I'm just going to put a little caveat on this. New mums and dads, I'm not talking to you during this because I've been there. It's torture. So for you, just know that this time will pass. Okay? When you get no sleep. But for the rest of us, the benefits of sleep: it fights infection. And we all know at the moment how important it is to fight infection or virus. It's a natural painkiller. It reduces stress. Who doesn't want more of that? It lowers blood pressure. It releases melatonin, which is the hormone, and it's the drowsy hormone that gets us ready for sleep, which I'll talk about a little bit more in a minute, which is anti-cancer and an antioxidant hormone as well. It also produces the natural rhythms within our day, which I'm going to talk about a little bit more. But the main thing it does, it detoxifies our body. So when we're awake and we're moving more and we're eating and we're thinking and we're getting on with our day and everything that we have to do in the day, our body is just helping us do those things. It's not thinking about what it's going to do with all this stuff, that all these pollutants that we've breathed in, or all this food that we've taken in, or all it's not doing that. It is to a slower degree. It's part of what we get up to in the day, but it can't focus on it. When we're asleep, that's when detoxification happens. So that's one of the reasons why you shouldn't have caffeine and alcohol near night, because they're both stimulants and it doesn't put us into a deep sleep to help encourage detoxification. We both pass out, especially with alcohol. We pass out, and caffeine probably keeps us a little bit wired for longer. So what happens then? We wake up groggy because we've not been able to detoxify everything from the night before, and we've introduced more toxins into the body in the form of alcohol. So I'm not telling you not to do it. That's up to you. But to me, a good night's sleep means I've been cleansed. That's how I feel about sleep. Okay. And also, if you don't have a good night's sleep, so if you've had that caffeine or that alcohol, or you've just had a bad night's sleep because lots going on in your mind and not being able to turn off, and things like that, do you think then, when you wake up the next day, that you're going to be in a position to make good choices about what you're going to eat, or your self-care routine, or how are you going to be snappy towards other people, or are you going to show a bit of empathy and understanding towards other people? I know what I'm like when I don't have a good night's sleep. And a good night's sleep occasionally, that's life, that's what happens. But when it becomes a more passing out rather than sleeping, or a tossing, turning, or just not feeling refreshed when you wake up, and that's a regular thing, then maybe this is something that you need to think about addressing in some way. And one way of doing that is introducing a power down hour. Now, you might have heard about this. It's quite a buzzword. People talk about it quite regularly, so you might know what it is. But I'll just explain it anyway for those of you who don't, or you just want a bit more of a full picture of why I think it's really important, and it's been a bit of a game changer for me. So a power down hour starts in the day. We've got what's called a circadian rhythm. All humans have got circadian rhythms. Now, you don't really need to know what that means, but it's a natural flow to the day. So when we wake up, we release hormones that gets us alert, gets us ready for the day, and gets us focused, and it goes through peaks and troughs throughout the day. So at some points in the day it dips a little bit, and other times of the day it raises again. And if we introduce more natural, and what's happened over the last 40 years is that we've introduced less natural light and more artificial light into our lives. So our bodies don't fully know the difference between day and night like it used to do. So our natural rhythm is to go to work and do things in daylight and sleep in at night and sleep in darkness. But obviously, since we've had electricity and now laptops and iPhones and TVs and all the rest of it, that's blurred a little bit. So it's not quite as clear cut for our bodies to be able to work to this circadian rhythm, which is our natural flow. So if we can introduce more natural daylight into our daily life, then that helps promote those hormones that help us get through the day. So if you work in an office, then I would encourage you to take your lunch break outside. I always go for a walk at lunch. Anything that promotes daily, natural daylight is a good thing. So that's the first point. And then think about this power down hour. Now, the reason why a power down hour is so important is because, I'll explain how to do it in a second. I might sort of go a little bit around in circles. Can you imagine, right? Just now we're coming to summer and we're having about 14 hours of daylight a day. Can you imagine going from daylight at 5 o'clock in the morning to 9 o'clock at night one day, and the next day we're in deepest, darkest winter? Whew. And how we would cope with that. Within 24 hours we've gone from summer to winter, and how difficult that would be for us to adjust. It's just like lockdown. So we've gone from working and busy and working a million miles an hour to stop. It's a little bit like that. Our body will go into shock and go, what the hell are you doing to us? Don't understand. That's the same thing that we do to our bodies potentially every night. So we spend all day in artificial daylight, and then we spend all evening in artificial daylight. So our body doesn't really know the difference. So then we're in bed and it's 11 o'clock at night and we're on our laptop and we're overdosing on Netflix, and then we turn it off and we expect to just fall straight to sleep. And our body's going, what are you doing to me? Where's that come from? Okay, does that make sense? So by introducing the power down hour, it's like introducing autumn. So you're going from summer, daylight, to winter, darkness, nighttime. You're introducing that autumn in the middle, which is that phase where the days start to get shorter, you get the woolly jumpers out, we start to slow down a bit, we start making our lovely big stews and pies. Everything changes, doesn't it? But it changes slowly over a season. So the power down hour is that season, but every day. Does that make sense? I hope it does. So that's why it's really important, because you're sending messages to your brain that we need to start slowing down. We need to start. Yeah? Okay. Now, even for the people who pass out or fall asleep really, really easily, even if they've been overdosing on Netflix, I would argue that the quality of your sleep still isn't as good as it could be. Okay, so I would still argue, if you're saying to me, I just fall asleep anyway, I don't know what you're talking about, I would argue that your quality of sleep isn't as good. And the way to experiment with that is acknowledge how you feel when you wake up in the morning. And if you don't feel refreshed, then that's always a sign that you've not had a good quality sleep. Okay, so how do you do this? How do I do this? Well, you're going to go to sleep anyway, so let's make it about you. So most of us wake up with an alarm in the morning. So at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the morning, off goes that alarm. We get again. So let's have an alarm for nighttime. Okay, let's set an alarm. So if you go to bed at 11 o'clock at night, set an alarm at 10 o'clock at night. Now, if that feels too much for you at the moment, then set it at 10:30. even 15-20 minutes, and then start extending it with the goal of getting it to an hour. Yeah, don't do it all or nothing, or straight to an hour. If that feels too much, it feels like there's not enough time in the day, let's start with 20 minutes, half an hour to begin with. Okay, so we've got natural light in the day as much as we possibly can in the daytime, and then we're making sure that once the tea's done and the washing up's done and the packed lunches are done, which we're going to have to start doing again, and all the jobs are done for the day, and we settle down, make sure that the lights are dimmed. You haven't got them. I don't think many of us have the main beam on anyway. When we're settling down for an evening, we would put some dimmed lights on. Make that your time. Or I'd have a bath. That's what I like to do. I have a bath, have a stretch, a nice gentle 5-minute stretch. It doesn't have to be a full yoga routine. This is all about sending signals to your brain that nighttime is coming, sleep will be coming soon. Let's just settle into it. So once you've dimmed your lights, so this happens maybe, I don't know, 8-9 o'clock at night, then you can do your overdose on your Netflix and catch up on your social media and do all that, but already the dimmed lights are starting to tell your body something. Then when your power hour starts and your alarm goes off, all this off, no more. Okay, no social media, no distractions, no Netflix, no TV, all gone. How does that make you feel? Again, I'm not talking about doing this every day, 365 days of the year. I'm guilty as much as the next person, that I might want to look at my social media, or I might want to just finish a TV show. But as much as you possibly can, try and introduce that habit. That blue light keeps your brain active. Yeah, it keeps you on like this. So that's why I'm saying maybe 20 minutes, half an hour, just to start you off with the thinking of this autumn period that you go through every day. Okay. So when that alarm goes off at whatever time it is that you set for yourself, that's when we're entering autumn, before we hit winter. Okay. So this is when we're starting to tell our body that things are going to start slowing down. So then have a bath, have a stretch, have a read. So for me, clean bed sheets and a fresh pair of pajamas, I can't wait to get into bed. And then what I do, you don't have to do it, just choose whatever suits you. I either read, I listen to a podcast, or I do some journaling, or what I like to call brain dumping. So depending on what sort of day I've had, if my eyes are tired because I've been staring at a screen all day or something like that, I might just relax with a podcast. Or an audiobook, or I read. I like reading, or I do a journal. So I tend to journal when I've had a bad day. Maybe I should rethink that. But and it's a way for me to just brain dump my thoughts, just brain dump it, and then it's out of here, it's there, it's gone. And that's it. Just honestly, I can't tell you how powerful that is. Get it out of your head. If it's out of your head, it's gone. Okay, so alarm goes off, bath or stretch, bed, read, podcast, journal, or just have a chat to your husband or partner, anything, and with no light, no natural light, just dimmed light. And the whole time that this power down hour is happening, your body is now recognizing that we're in autumn, we're in the season of autumn. melatonin is being released, and good quality, decent amounts of melatonin. Your minions are like, right, here we go, I'm on duty now, let's get that melatonin out. And you know, like I say, it's an antioxidant, it's an anti-cancer, and then when you drift off into that lovely sleep, it's a quality sleep. So it's not, again, I would say it's not about quantity of sleep, it's about quality of sleep. Because as you get older, you don't need as much quantity of sleep. So teenagers could sleep for Britain, whereas as we get older, we don't need necessarily as much, but the quality of it is what's important, and you will know if it's been quality because of how you feel when you wake up in the morning. Give it a go. You're going to go to sleep anyway. Give yourself the time for yourself, okay? And then when you wake up in the next day, you'll be in a better frame of mind, and then your champagne glass will be that little bit fuller, and you're able to dissipate your stardust to everybody else who needs you, yeah? Which is ultimately what we want to do. We want to help other people, and we want to achieve things in our life, and we want to feel vibrant and energetic to be able to do that, okay? Yeah, the funny thing is we recharge our batteries, and we recharge our computers, and we recharge our phones, and we don't think that we need recharging. Of course we do. We all need recharging. But like I said yesterday, if you don't know, you don't know. But when you do know, you can start to make different decisions. So just start to become aware. Yeah, just start to think about what little habits you could change that would help to make you feel more refreshed in the morning. I'm not talking about new mums or mums with young children. that's just, you've just got to go through that, unfortunately. I'm really sorry, but that time will pass, I guarantee. But for the rest of us, think about eating slower, moving more, getting more fresh air, more natural daylight, and introducing a powered down routine of some description that suits you for the time of life and the stresses and strains that you've got within your life, and just see how you feel. Okay? Awareness is everything. So I'm just talking about 10 minutes a day. 10 minutes a day. So how many of you will give yourself permission to do that? And when I ask that question, what emotions does it bring up? Does it make you feel excited? Or does it make you feel a little bit anxious? Or maybe a little bit frustrated with me? You know, acknowledge how you feel. And I would argue that if you feel anxious, frustrated, or some sort of negativity, then the power down hour or some sort of self-care routine is even more important for you to introduce. Right, I'm not going to answer the questions here now, because this is where I always go wrong in my videos, but please message me, please comment what you've taken from the video. And I have another fact sheet which has got 60 tips for self-care. 60. Some are a little bit out there, some are quite easy, some are a little bit, oh yeah, well. So just have a read. Well, if you want it, let me know. If I've got your email address, just thumbs up or say yes, and I can send it to you. If I haven't got your email address, then send me a private message or put it in the comments, and I will send it over. It's 60 tips. I don't expect you to introduce them all, And like I say, some of them are a little bit out there, so just take the ones you want and dismiss the rest, and see how we get on. Okay? All right, everyone, enjoy your day. Try and find 10 minutes to just for you, just to bump yourself up that priority list, because you deserve it. Okay? And the people around you deserve it too. Lots of love. Take care. Bye-bye.